So, open up your FTP editor first of all. Okay. We want to go back out to the root of the site,
Okay.
which is content. You never need to go outside of content. The way our FTP works, you can back up through the tree, but you don't want to do that unless you're trying to get to another site, and then that's how you get there. Okay, so this is the root directory of your site, and if you're familiar with how FTP works in general and just how the web works, the domain goes to the root directory of your site and looks for an index file. So here that's this, but that's just some code that says build the site from this database and this template. So this index file is what the browser sees first, but that's not really important for you. You're never going to have to touch that. So what is important is this templates file.
Okay.
So you'll see we have a few of these here, and I don't delete your old designs. If you wanted to switch back to the previous design, you can. So that's why there are several here. So all these things with the 0611, that's the most recent design. So those are the ones that that we have on the site now. So we'll just go into home, and then markup.template.html is always the template file for that particular template. That's the HTML page.
Okay.
And actually, I just double clicked on that, but you're going to want to open this in Dreamweaver. Really what I like to do is just download the whole site and work on it locally and then upload. So I try not to put any content in the template files themselves. Some of my earlier sites I did a little too much of that. I think the marathon site, the footer is all right here in the template file, but more recent sites I've been trying to put template tags in the template so you can get to like the sidebars and the footers and everything from within the content management system itself, so you don't have to go through and go through the FTP process here. So you've got your template files. There's also a folder called display rules, and that's how you get back to do the blog templates and things like that. So we'll wait on that for a minute. In the meantime, let's fire up Dreamweaver and Firefox. Okay, so you know how to do this with editing the content area, adding photos, right? You've been through all that?
Yeah.
Okay. From this area, you can't get to things like the sidebar here and the footer and these links. So how we get to these content areas is we just say edit this template, and then it looks like I've only got one other content area on this site. So you can edit your footer here. But anything else, these buttons, I don't have the editing capability in here, which means it's in the template. So, and when that's done downloading, I'll show you how to get to that.
Okay.
So you just make these edits and then say save template. You can also, if you want, say, a different footer on this page as opposed to another page on your site, say save a copy, and give it a title. And then close this window and go back to the advanced site editor. So then to change the template, you just click on the page that you want to change and then go to display options. So you can see all the different templates that we have here. Some of these are the old, and some are the current template folder. So you've got two different ways of looking at this here. All of these are the folders on the back end, and each one of these preview areas represents a folder on the FTP side. But then in addition, you saw that we saved template content, so it keeps the same folder but saves a different version of the content. Like, I mean, I didn't actually change the footer, but if I had changed the footer and then clicked save, that new template content would come up. So you'll find that. So I was on the home page and I said edit this template and save a new file, and there's the one that I just saved. So I can say second template, and that'll give me the new footer there. Or in this spot, I could also say change it to the old home page.
Okay.
So I just switched that. Come back here and refresh. And there's your old site.
Oh, okay.
It keeps the same content that you've got now. It just changes the wrapper around it. I'll change that back before I forget. So that's how you do templates if you wanted to change sidebars or anything. If it's in the content, you do it here. If it's not in the content, you do it on this file itself. So again, this is the template that we were just looking at. And we'll say open this markup page in Dreamweaver. Now you'll see the preview window here doesn't really help you. And I can show you why in a second. The CSS file right here actually links back to the templates folder. And since this markup page is in the same folder, this link is broken. So all you have to do to see the CSS is remove that if you want to. Typically the CSS, the display rendering in Dreamweaver is crap. So this doesn't really help you all that much. Backgrounds don't display properly. It just gives you the really basic structure. But what this does do is show you where the little tags are. Like I just clicked on this and that shows you the blog tag. So right here in the sidebar, I put in this line of code that says display 4 of the most recent blogs.
Okay.
Use this display rule, and I'll show you where the display rules are so you can edit those. And then use this particular blog. So the blog is called Press Releases, so it's right there.
Alright.
So if you wanted to display 5 or 10 or whatever, you do that right here. Just change that 4. Sometimes I put these display rules in the template themselves, and sometimes I put them in the content area of the site. So whenever you see this, you can change it, whether it's within Servee or within the Servee template editor or back here in the template FTP, it's all the same.
Okay.
So then otherwise, anytime I put content right in the template, like with the marathon or whatever, it's going to be in here. So see the Twitter links, that's all in this spot. So you can just mess around with this and kind of get familiar with what the different tags mean. We really try to use English so that you could tell what they were. The content is always going to go in this spot. The site navigation, that list at the top pulls the navigation from the content management system just using this. So that's pretty straightforward. What else? The title elements, the page title and site name are also pulled from the database. If you wanted to change what was up here where it says Highland PR Public Relations in Akron, Ohio, that is the site name element,
Okay.
and you change that in the settings here. So that's this spot. So just make that change and hit Save Settings. The other thing that's kind of tricky is when you've got a lot of different folders here full of different templates and you don't know which is where, you don't know what you're editing. Let's say you're on a portfolio page here and you want to change something in the sidebar or the footer or whatever, and you don't know where to do that. Just go to the advanced editor and the site structure, and then click on the page that you want to edit, and go over here to display options, and the template that it's using will be highlighted, and this will always be the folder name. So you can tell this is subpage 0601, which is right there. So that's how you get into the markup file. Let's say you want to add a footer to all of your blog posts. We're going to go back to the FTP side and then go to display rules. So there's several different things here. We've got a calendar, media, and standard content, but we'll just go to the blog site here. And you'll see archive list, homepage list, and PR entry. It looks like that view all press releases might be in the display rule. So we're just going to grab this file. So you see this entry pulls in the title and the subtitle, and then I automatically pull in the date and the content of the release, and then the view all press releases link that goes to the main press releases page.
Okay.
So here I can I'll just save it. And just drag that file that I just created back into the FTP side here. And can you do that for me again? So then come back here and refresh, and then that new line that I just made will show up on the bottom of every blog entry. Right there.
Okay.
So sometimes if you've got more than one blog, sometimes you'll display different footer information on one blog as opposed to another. That's all going to be right here in this display rules area.
Okay.
And again, if you want to figure out what display rule you're using, different page types have different things in this spot. So you'll see here the entry display is PR entry, which is what we just edited. Archive list is the blog archive, and the homepage container is the default. So the archive list would be here. So this is displaying the date and a headline. So the archive is paginated. This is all of your posts ever. So a better example of this will be the city council page, where the home page has, it looks more like a home page. It's got a preview of the most recent couple of posts, and then they kind of tier down as they get older. But if you go to the archive here, so this is everything. with the pagination at the bottom there. So anyway, those are the display rules. I'll also show you the media here. This is where your template is for the portfolio. So in the portfolio, you've got the rotating images here and the thumbnails. This says display a gallery, use the tag brochure, and the display rule Servee default. So don't mess with the JavaScript. I didn't even write that. That would have been Isaac or Josh. I don't know what I'm doing with that. But this is the HTML for that list. This is all you have to worry about. And really what this says is this here is the thumbnail list, and this is what we replace the big image with. So that's just your loading icon, and when you click on any of the thumbnails, it pulls the link to the big file into this spot. So that's what all this JavaScript does, is find the links to the big images and stick it up there. But this is it. This is just the location of the big file, the title, that's where the caption goes, and the source of the image thumbnail is here. So you shouldn't have to mess with that, but just to show you where everything is, this is what I do when I go in and make new galleries. You want to add a new category in the view by client?
Yeah, we were going to add signs and banners to the product, and then I was going to add the Humane Society to the client.
Okay. So first thing we need to do is go over here and make the pages themselves. So in the portfolio, there's view by product and view by client. So we'll just add a new standard page, and it shows up here at the bottom of the list. And then go to page details. Typically page details is what's already open. We just had the display options open. So go ahead and type in what you want the name to be.
Is this the client or the product, or either one?
Either one, it doesn't matter.
Okay, we'll just do that.
Okay, and hit tab. And that will automatically create the URL. And then you want to go ahead and make it visible. So we'll hit this button, and then just drag this to the right spot here.
Okay.
And that'll put it to the bottom, but if you want to drag it up somewhere else, that's fine too. So then back here, we'll refresh, and then you'll see the new one here at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
So then, you just go here and add a new gallery. And we've only got this one display rule, so you don't have to worry about that. I don't know why it's showing up twice, but fine. And then, have you uploaded any images?
Yeah, actually, you can see the picture of the dog. That's the Humane Society website.
Okay. Have you done any with the signs and banners?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, this is the signs and banners page, but we'll go ahead and...
Yeah.
okay, so you want the HSGA. So select the tag that you want to make the new gallery from this list here, and then create a gallery based on selected tags. So the gallery is going to show up with these two images,
Okay.
and you'll get that list. And you know what? The reason there's no navigation here is because we're on the wrong template. So to pick the right template, just look at another one, and we'll see it's Folio 0611. and this is automatically, it defaults to the default subpage template.
Okay.
There we go. All right, so then just go back to the live site, and there it is.
Okay.
The only other thing I want to show you is how to do forms. Now, almost any site that you have is going to have a form already, and the format is a little bit different for different sites. So here, this looks like I just wrapped everything in a paragraph tag. But on the Kent State site, I used the label tag, which is a little bit, I just code a little bit differently. So what you need to do for any of these is go into a form that already exists and copy it from the back end. So you just hit the view source button and copy from the beginning form tag all the way to the end form tag. Okay, so there it is. So you see that it's got form, ID, etc., and all the way to the end of the form.
Yeah.
So we'll copy that. And then go back to Dreamweaver. And you can do this right in the Servee editor, but this, pasting it into Dreamweaver gives you color coding and everything. It's just easier to code in a program that's meant for coding.
Okay.
So the Servee editor also removes all your white space, so you got to go in and do things like this if you want to be able to read it.
Okay.
So I've separated this out into the different elements that you can recognize. So this input is the button.
Okay.
This is hidden, and that shows you what emails they go to.
Okay.
And then here, these are the things that you can copy and create new elements. So
Okay.
say we're going to turn this into a survey. We need name and email address, but we want to ask some more information.
Mhm.
So we'll go here and right now this is just a typical text input box, so the user has to type something. You can also put in different types of boxes, and I know these just because I know HTML well enough, but you can copy different elements from the web, like checkboxes and radio
Okay.
and select boxes. So you can find these anywhere and just copy and paste them into this spot. The one thing you just need to make sure of is there's always a name element, and
Okay.
that is what the database will use to label the field when you create an email.
Okay.
So since I have a yes or no question here, I'm going to make this a radio.
Is it okay to use Dreamweaver's form elements?
Yeah, that
Okay.
works too.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with that, but
It's-
any of it will work.
Okay. I think it's the same. I haven't used them much. But yeah, they'll insert pre-made, text boxes and things like that.
And actually, doing the design view here will help you out too. So
Okay.
Just make sure your name elements are correct. I guess on checkboxes you also need a value to say what the checkbox actually says. Okay, so there's a state field with 2 options on it. So your form's done.
And for the emails, if I want to change those, I just change them right here in the HTML?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just make sure there's a comma between if you've got more than one.
Okay.
But that's it. And then
Okay.
everything else up here in the head is important. You don't need the ID, the contact form, but the action, you want to save that. And the hidden value here with the email address, you need those as well. The other thing that's possible right here, sometimes this is not hidden. Like on the city council site, I've got a select box where you can choose who it goes to. So this one, has a select box where the name is 2, so our system knows that if the name of the input is 2, then that's where it goes.
Okay, and if for something like that, all of the emails would be up in that head tag separated by commas? Or would they be...
No, in this one, it's just the value of what you choose. So
okay.
option value is the email address, and then what you put between the option tags is what you want to see there. So the user can never actually see on this page anyway what the person's email address is, but the form knows. It doesn't care what's between the option tags, it only shows you what's in the value here.
Okay. And then do they have that same tag? I don't remember what it said. Where on ours where it says file them with these emails, do they have a tag like that on this one?
Nope.
Or is it just says the 2?
Yeah, as far as our system's concerned, it doesn't care what the type of element it is, it just has to be name equals 2. So on the Highland site, and on most of these things, it's going to be type equals hidden. So it will pass the value of this even though the user can't see it.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. So we're going to copy all of this. So we've got your new form right here.
Okay.
So we'll say send, and this takes me to the form completion page, which on your admin side is usually a drop down under contact. It's not, so I don't know where I put it. I don't know, it's somewhere in there, but you have access to edit the form completion page. And if you check your email, you'll see the name and email and all of these things. This is the name value of the form, and this is the actual value, so what you type in or whatever. So that's how that works, and you can do some really complicated things like collect all sorts of information here. And I told you sometimes I use the label tag and sometimes I use the P and whatever, so just make sure you copy a form that I've already done if you're going to create a new one, because they'll look a little bit different on each site. Yeah, so there's a P wrapping around the label and then the input. So the label, there's a value that's 4, and you just want to make sure that the label and the name are the same for each element. It doesn't really matter what page it's on, so just create a standard content page and then put the form right there. So in the advanced editor, you can also see all the forms that have been submitted.
Okay.
I'm back on the Highland site now, but on the KSU form, or on the KSU site, there's going to be several here. So you can see, and this is just the URL of the page that it's on. There we go. So this is what I just did.
Okay.
So you can turn these things off. So this is all the information on the form itself,
Okay.
and then you can download it as an Excel file. The Marathon does this sometimes when they do surveys or contests. You can download everything and then count, how many people did what.
Okay.
So that's all right there. Okay, so that's it.